NIL is the buzzword that every college and even high school student is talking about. But what is it? How does it work? And what's in it for you? NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. College sports have been amateur way back as early as 1869, since no athletes could be paid. And then fast forward to 2001, the Supreme Court ruled in NCAA versus Alston that the NCAA could not limit education-related payments. That gray line marked the start of what became a benefit to college students, because college students, like average citizens, could now get paid for their own name, image, and likeness. But what happened after that? Well, the NCAA deferred to states, and when those states didn't make a ruling, the states deferred to the colleges. And colleges came up with their own kind of way of figuring it out. Basically, across the board, two rules remain the same. One, a player cannot be paid to play. Two, a player can't have quid pro quo, which is a fancy word for saying players can't be incentivized to play. But that gray line has created some difficulties. You have what are called NIL collectives. Those collectives typically are like alumni associations that have deep pockets. And they get together, pool their resources in hopes to attract talent to their school. I use attract with air quotes because when they're attracting, they sort of offer endorsements that the players can benefit from. But let's not be fooled. They actually are trying to recruit the top talent to their schools, and NIL is one way that they do it. So who else has their hand in the pot of NIL? Well, there are NIL agents. And agents are people who can make deals on behalf of an athlete and get endorsements with other brands. One thing is 100% set in stone about those agents. Agents cannot use NIL to position themselves for the benefits of a future deal. For example, if a high school or college student inks a deal in the 11th grade and that agent got that deal for them, that agent is not automatically entitled to any funds that that athlete receives because of that deal when they go pro. So with schools having a say, NCAA having a say, agents having a say, collectives having a say, where does that leave the actual player? Well, like most things in life, there is a small amount of individuals who typically have the windfall of benefits, and then there's the majority who have to figure it out. The good news is there have been a gamut of things that have happened for athletes in terms of NIL. So NIL deals typically fall in 5 categories. You have autographs, public appearances, social media, you have some type of public speaking, and business creation. Yes, students are even creating their own businesses on the back of NIL. The cream of the crop athletes, if you like cream, have received big brand deals. But there have been a handful of smaller athletes at smaller schools like HBCU, Norfolk State's King of NIL, who have figured out how to position themselves correctly in order to attract NIL deals. Bottom line for NIL for students is you have to bring some type of value to the brand. You have to have a following. You have to be engaging. You have to have something that targets the audience that they want to advertise to. And then that opens the door up for NIL to be a benefit to you. Now, having endorsements isn't the only thing that benefits for NIL. NIL doesn't just stop at brand deals, but it also carries over to things like merch. So if you're a high school or college student, you can create your own merch line. You can have hoodies and backpacks and socks, just like those YouTubers do, and sell it to your own audience. Your name, your image, your likeness. It also runs the gamut of things like speaking engagements. So NIL is a brand new thing, but a big, big benefit to college students and high school students who play sports. We're at the beginning of the world of NIL, but one thing's for sure. It creates more fairness for student athletes, just like any other citizen, to be able to use their skills and their talents for their benefit, just off the field. Right now, as of 2022, there are over 450,000 student athletes that have earned NIL deals between high school and college. And that's a big deal because about only 450,000 student athletes even get drafted to the pro league. And that's football, basketball, baseball, and soccer combined. So NIL sparks a new horizon for student athletes to be able to benefit in ways that they've never been able to benefit before. How big can NIL get and how much will student athletes benefit? Who knows? I hope it's a lot.